really love our electric bikes. These are the Lectric XP 3.0. We got them in November, took them away on vacation with us in the winter. We have over 200 miles on them. Steve has his, and here's mine. We were really dismayed last week one day when Steve's wouldn't turn on. We were all ready to go for a ride. The display, which is this little unit right here, was totally dead, would not even power on. So we did some troubleshooting. First we tried my battery and his, didn't make any difference. Then we contacted the company and we checked all the connections and everything. We contacted the company and they immediately sent us out a new display, which came in the mail. But first they had us actually unhook Steve's and then unhook mine and put it onto Steve's just to make sure it was the display itself and not something else. And sure enough, that's what it was. So the new one is here. The old one is still disconnected, and we will put the new one into place. And this here little piece here is a really innovative wrapping device, a loom, if you want to call it that, to wrap the wires up so they don't fly all over willy-nilly like this. So that's what we're going to do is the replacement. And I believe it's just a matter of these two little screws and refeed the wires back through and go from there. So here's the new one down here that they just sent us. It comes with the wires, it comes with the switch itself, the thumb control switch, the little brackets that go onto the handlebars. So it should be a pretty easy plug and play thing. And then we bought these extra little rubber guards that seal over the edges that help prevent any water intrusion along these edges of the device. So let's get started. Okay, he's removing this last little piece of this wrap stuff. It's pretty cool. It's just plastic edged wrap that twists back on itself. This is one little section. There's all different sections of different lengths for the bike.
You gotta remove this piece also too.
Okay, so he's going to remove that little section. Okay, so we have a small section and a medium section. You got to remember, the small one goes on the back of the controller. The medium one goes over to the thumb switch. Steve has a nice assortment of these T-handle Allen wrenches in both metric and SAE. Harbor Freight Special. That's just perfect for working on these e-bikes. You're not looking at high precision screws and nuts and bolts and things like on a car. Okay, so Steve's using a 2.5 millimeter to remove this little thumb control switch. On and off switch. I don't know, what do you call the thing? Speed control switch.
I think that's a good name.
Sounds good. Okay, now to remove the two screws in the bottom of the display itself bracket, that's a 3 millimeter Allen wrench. Okay, the old one's off, but we're going to hang on to it just in case for some reason, if we ever need the switch part or maybe one of our brackets crack. Looks like it could come apart if we needed to, so we're just going to stick it in a box on the shelf. I am the keeper of the pieces while he puts this together. Okay, so now he's going to slide these new brackets on carefully over the handlebars. There we go, and the display is in the right direction. Just put the screw in from the front side, the nut in from the back. There we go. Position it kind of where it's comfortable for viewing. Is that about good?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, we can always readjust it again later. This right here next to it is our phone holder, which is great to hold our cell phones because we use them for our Sena communication devices in our helmets. Okay, I get to do this part. This is very satisfying. Peeling off the plastic. That's my job.
I put the guard.
Yeah, over it. I bought those off Etsy. Somebody makes them out of rubber. I have seen where down each side they put the numbers of how much % battery you have left versus what the voltage is to help you know exactly where your battery's at. But we've never really calculated them like that. But I have seen guards that do have that. Okay, now he's putting on the thumb control. Is the cord routed in the right direction?
I believe it is.
Okay. Doesn't have to go under or over anything else?
I think they wire together, so they just
Okay.
have to be.
Just ask him. Make sure your plus and minus buttons are to the outside, your power buttons to the inside. Now this is back to the 2.5 screw and nut. Bolt and nut, I guess. These little T-handles are a little easier to use than just the traditional Allen wrench, L-shaped.
Well, it's down here by my hand.
Some of the extra features we got from Lectric at the time that we ordered these bikes were this cute little bell. Oh, there we go. And we had also gotten this really nice bike lock that articulates outwards, kind of like an old construction contractor's ruler. And we ordered the spongier seats with the shock seat post. So you think you're all done?
Nope, I gotta plug them in.
Okay, so now when you plug these wires in, you have to be very careful to line them up perfectly. See the little notch in this hole? And over here, that little notch has to correspond in there. And there are arrows on the outsides of the plastic that show you exactly where to line them up. You do not twist these, you just push. If you twist them, you're going to break them. So again, with this red one, the same thing. If you stop wiggling, Steve, I was shining up the end here. This one has 2 pins. It's got a notch and in here. So those are really delicate little prongs. So you make sure you line them up perfectly and you only push and don't twist. There we go. Now before you wind on these looms, do you want to just try turning it on, see if you have power?
Okay.
Okay, let's see.
Got the key.
Your key on. The keys are down underneath on these bikes.
Keys on.
Okay, push the button. Yay, we have power. Good job, Steve.
Yippee.
Okay, now we just have to put these wiring devices back on. The shorter one went by the display. The longer one went by the thumb control.
I think right here.
It's nice that we have another bike to look at.
And this one right here.
There you go. I have the other one here in my hand. Those are pretty handy. Some of the other things that we added to the bikes on mine, I have these pannier bags. One is on the bike, the other one's hanging right here on the door. And we had also added, hanging off our bikes, are these easy to grab pepper sprays in case we get a nasty dog ripping up our ankles. I bought this cute little bag that attaches by my handlebars. Steve opted for a bag to go on his back rack. In there we carry a air compressor, spare tube, tire changing tools, along with a first aid kit, some rags. What else do we have in there? Raincoats, little rain ponchos. We carry 2 extra plastic Ziploc bags. If we're ever caught in the rain, we can put them over these displays without having, danger of water intrusion. We also have bike alarms. And these are some heavy duty bike alarms that attach right to the brake, what's that called? The hydraulic brake disc.
Or disc, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. And those are very sharp, piercing alarms that if you just touch the bike, it chirps at you and warns you. Leave it alone. If you wiggle the bike, it'll chirp a little louder. If you actually try to move the bike more than an inch or two, it starts screaming the loudest, most piercing whistle. And there's no way to spend the time to saw them off with them piercing like that. You can't even stand to, be next to it. And the only way to remove them would be to actually disengage the entire tire off of the frame and take a hacksaw to it and saw through where it bolts, right through that disc for the braking system. I'll get one out and show you. Keep mine up here in my pouch, along with all my other doodads. Here we go. These things are pretty nice. I'll include the link from where we got them on Amazon. They come in a little pouch. Here's the device. Here's just a little warning cord. You kind of lock it between the two. It calls attention to the fact that it's on there so somebody else doesn't mess with it. And the key for this is on my key ring. But let's just kind of basically show how it works, Steve. You want to do it just here on the front tire, just for...
Okay.
Example. What you do is you can stick one end of this wire just anywhere up here on the handlebar of this coil. It's just to call attention to the fact there is an alarm on this bike. Don't bother trying. And it hooks. Woo! It's hooked into place now. And it's right through the little hole in that brake wheel. What's it called? Hydraulic disc. And if you're going to go and do this, Steve, you're going to need my keys. Here's my keys. Okay, wiggle the bike like you're going to steal it. There's a chirp. And then really move it. See? Ouch! There. And the only way I'll turn off is if you have the key. So woe be it anybody that thinks they're going to try to take off with this thing. And of course, we would have the secondary lock on at the same time, this expanding mechanical lock down here. So there would be 2 locks they'd be trying to take off, one screaming in their ears at such a high decibel rate, it would really hurt. And of course, they're insured and registered and air tagged and all that good stuff. So they are rather expensive, and they are kind of a high ticket item that people will walk off with if they have the opportunity. So we just like to keep the honest people honest. And then the last thing I was going to show is in our helmets, we have these little communication devices. You can buy the full helmet with them in, or you can just buy them that go on the straps. They're called Sena, and they make them for motorcycles as well as bicycles. And they strap right on your helmet straps. They go through the Bluetooth on your phone, and Steve and I can talk to each other when we're riding. It's a pretty safety device that's good. We can call to each other and say when there's a car coming, or just letting each other know about the route. And it's hooked right here by his side of his face on one side. You can play music through them and stuff too, or take phone calls. We don't do that. But I want to see you go for a test drive. We'll put our alarm away later. Maybe we'll take a ride later on after supper. Okay, he's powered up. He's on. And away he goes. Thank you, Lectric, for replacing the display so promptly, free of charge, of course, under warranty. And now his miles are back to 0 again. So I'm going to have more miles on my bike than his. But these things are a lot of fun. We've been enjoying them. We take them camping in this cute little cargo trailer behind our motorhome. We load this thing up with all of our extra camping gear. Here's our lawn chairs and all of our extra stuff that doesn't fit in the motorhome itself. Well, I think you did good, dear.
Okay, looks good. Great job, dear.